Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible. Skin is also visible. Uh, so, as we had discussed in the previous Saturday, that from now on, up till the prelims, we will do only prelims required content. No, that means analysis that we always know, the background, the various dimensions, and all. That will be on a pause for some time. हाँ, वह बोलिए. Yes, what is the question? I told you you can also ask through mail. My mail ID you can always send. That ensuring. Friendshoring, I think, as the name appears, it has to something to do with offshoring. Offshoring, when you do with a friendly country, it's economic concept. Let me tell you how. Offshoring हमें समझाता है. It's a type of something called a business BPO हम समझते हैं. BPO, business process outsourcing. And you send a part. For example, you manufacture laptop. Laptop includes a lot of components. So you decide you will not produce all the component rather than manufacturing everything because that requires building a vertical, a department of processor, a department for them, which you believe is unnecessary weight. So why should you do? Rather, what you do, you build or you assemble the product, you send remaining product. मान लेते हैं the processor will be made by somebody in some country, the chip, any motherboard will be made by somebody. So when you do this in a friendly country, it becomes friendship. वो tax purpose का इस्तेमाल होता है. Rule is different. The rule is used for tax purpose. It is I'm talking about the type of business. It is called business process outsourcing. Offshoring means when it is BPO. For example, I am an Indian company. I manufacture laptop. I give a subcontract to another Indian company for providing me chips. ठीक है, IC chip, integrated circuit chip होती है. They provide me IC chip. I just use them in my laptop. It is called BPO. But if I do the same process with a foreign company, I give a contract to XYZ company in USA. It will be offshoring, means you are bypassing the international border. Offshoring. And friendshoring, when you do the same process in a friendly country. For example, India do with US. We both are democracy. We both love same values. Same friendship. So no, these are just like basically एक ही process है. Name them different manner. So let's start now. एक चीज हमेशा याद रखिए अब. No institution in this world has power to force any country to do it. These are not like people that you can put them behind bars. It should be XYZ, irrespective of anything. Anywhere if UPSC asks a question in prelims and it use the word forced, तो आप समझ लीजिए गलत. Can never force a country. हाँ ये बोल सकते हैं morally obliged, तो एक अलग बात. आप शायद नहीं. पब्लिक हेल्थ इमरजेंसी ऑफ इंटरनेशनल कंसर्न का 2005 की रेगुलेशन आया कुछ है. देख लेते हैं. क्या so far let us start our thing. FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Basically, as the name implies, ये पहले भी we have discussed this, but now we will only concern ourselves to prelims, no means content. So basically, what has happened recently, Center has suspended the FCRA license of the CPR, Center for Policy Research. Very good platform. If some institution you want to access apart from your Hindu newspaper, because everyone writes on Hindu newspaper, these are scholarly, these are kind of think tank. Basically, the institution whose purpose is to think. They evolve ideas, concepts, and theories. So CPR. Similarly, you have ITSA, Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis. These are some institutions which are very good institutions. And if you really want to know about India's foreign policy, you want to have in-depth and you do scholarly articles, so you can access it. Nonetheless, what the central government has done, it has suspended FCRA contribution to this. Is an institute CPR. So what you have to remember, we will not discuss anything about means, only prelims. So all you need to remember is what is FCRA, what are the points. Pehla point, one, it replaced the foreign contribution regulation in 1976. There was another act of 1976 which was more stringent. The FCRA Foreign Contribution Regulation Act basically replaced the previous 1976, which was made by Indira Gandhi. It's the replacement of that. It is more liberal. It was more strict. It was more liberal. So what it does is, second point, it regulates financing by foreign firms. If you are an Indian individual or association, then what kind of foreign funds you receive, government can regulate. Purpose is very clear. I told you, if I fund you, I will decide what you will do. I hope सबको याद होगा, न्यू colonialism we had discussed some time back. उसी की बात हो रही है basically. It's talking about the same thing, but that means we will not do that. First point you need to remember about FCRA, it's a replacement of 1976. That second thing, it covers both individuals and associations. Third thing, who control FCRA? MHA. Ministry of Home Affairs is the body to control regulation of FCRA. Fourth thing, that individual are not require any permission from MHA. MHA, which is the regulating body for the FCRA, individual do not require any permission. Association require permission of every kind. Individual, if they receive more than 25,000, then only they require permission. So if to a submission, point for prelims are number one, FCRA 2010 is a replacement of 1976 FCRA. Second, it applies to individual and association. Third, regulated by MHA. Fourth, individual does not require permission if they are having or getting money less than 25,000. Three or 4 points. These are the 4 points you have to remember. That's it. Next, who can take funds in? Who can take funds? Simply, who cannot take fund? Number one, anyone who is fighting election. Anyone, MP, MLA, whatever. Fighting an election, you cannot take foreign funds. Simple logic you understand. A foreign company will give. First of all, no, not at all. Abhi karenge. The money will come in exceptions. First thing you need to keep in mind, it prohibits few people from taking foreign fund. I told you why. If a foreign company gives you money, they will expect you to work for them. Common sense. That's how you know, I will not name them, but some houses in India, how they have become super rich because they provide funding to political parties. And when political parties come to power, they work for them, of course, they bring regulation to suit them. It happens. Yeah. So that's why we are prohibited. At least if you are working for an Indian company, to some extent it will make sense. The reason being because the money they will earn, they will spend in India. But if you are working for a foreign company, we have no idea what that company intention may have. मान लेते हैं Chinese company give fund to any Indian political party. They can make Indian political party to do a dance on their team. Something we cannot afford. It's a national security concern. That's why nobody who is fighting for election can take. Second, any outlet related to news transmission, whether a newspaper or any association that is transmitting news, they cannot take fund. Third, judges, government servant or anyone employed by government, मतलब PSUs की बात हो रही है, public sector undertaking or public sector banks. Anyone who is working on government agencies, public servant, judges, they cannot take foreign fund from any party, any company or whatsoever. Any MP or MLA cannot take fund. Any political party and its office bearers. For example, the chief of BJP is that person, Nadda, JP Nadda. The chief of BJP is JP Nadda. And the chief of Congress, Mallikarjun Kharge. These kind of people who are the office bearer of a party, they also cannot take any political. It's organization of political nature. Now, this is very disputed, which we cannot discuss, but a glimpse only. Organization of a political nature. Basically, it covers virtually anything. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ उनके हिसाब से दे रहा कल्चरल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ठीक है। ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिकल नेचर मतलब समझ रहे हैं दैट फॉर एग्जांपल कल टुमारो गवर्नमेंट ब्रिंग्स अ लॉ एंड यू डोंट लाइक दैट लॉ, यू did a small protest, you wrote an article, so you can be designated as an organization of political nature. So this is the most disputed point in this. It leaves application of FCRA unlimited. Things are clear. पहला हमने समझा FCRA is a law to regulate foreign funding of individuals and organizations in India. It's controlled by MHA. Individual can receive funding up to 25,000 rupees without permission. Above that, they require permission of MHA. Who cannot receive funding? Basically, if I club all these 6 points, anyone of government nature. Government nature means people fighting in election, uh, government servants, political parties, office bearers, judges. Say, for example, a policeman in CBI. Can that person take the foreign fund? Inspector of CBI. No, because government body simply sit. Okay. इसमें but I want to do an amendment here, a small amendment here. Amendment is that this is the original law. The original law prohibits political party and office bearer. However, recently, which we had discussed earlier also, government of India, basically the Modi government brought amendment to FCRA and allowed that political party and office bearer can receive funding from a subsidiary of a foreign firm. बस ये थोड़ा याद रखिएगा, subsidiary of a foreign firm. Basically nothing happened. Delhi High Court pulled the BJP in Congress, and then you know how Kochol Mosere bhai. So the way they brought amendment and they basically absolved themselves out of the law. Otherwise, they would have been called by the Delhi High Court in question nonetheless. Yes, for example, मान लेते there is a XYZ company which is a USA registered company. If it established XYZ India, हाँ वेदांता केस की बात होती है. If it is established XYZ India, so the political parties can receive funding from XYZ India, not from the XYZ US. That's the simplicity. This is all you have to remember for prelims. Yes. Yes. So these are the things you need to remember for the prelims in FCRA. Now the question comes is, who can take money in what ways? All the people, whether you're a government servant, you're a judge or whatever, you can take money from certain ways. For example, remuneration of payment of service. You have given a service to a foreign person. कोई भी kind of service to the government you can take. Second, any transaction made to the central or the state government. If a transaction is between the governments, it is not prohibited. Third things, any gift or representation to a member of Indian delegation. For example, you visit to America and American people provided you bouquets or sweets or something. So this is a welcome gesture. And every country have their own customs. Some country have customs of giving their homemade handicraft gifts. So in that case, if you say no, then it is a bad reputation. It's a bad demeanor to the host country. So these kind of things are allowed. A gift, a representation, if you are a part of Indian delegation. If you have money from relative, it's obvious. You're an IAS officer, it does not mean that you cannot take money from a foreign source, you can. If a relative gives you money, it doesn't matter. It's your relative, you can have. Any institution in foreign who is not your relative, not any way has any connection to you, if that person gives money, then it raises eyebrow. Other thing, any scholarship, stipend, or any payment of like. So, these things you have to remember. Let me summarize. FCRA is a law that aims to regulate foreign funding to protect national interest. MHA control FCRA. It covers individual and associations. Individual can take up to 25,000. Beyond that, they require MHA permission. Anyone who is of government nature, political party, judges, government servant, anyone who is in political nature or government nature cannot take foreign funding except as a way of payment of service during foreign delegation, a gift from a gift or representation, or some money or something from his relative or her relative, or as a scholarship stipend or payment. Clear? इससे ज़्यादा nothing is required. This is more than sufficient for prelims. बाकी I have included an amendment here, FTR amendment. Recently this amendment came. Now central government has extended its power. Most important provision to remember these three. First provision, that now no one can transfer their money to any other organization. मान लेते हैं you have an NGO by the name XYZ NGO. You receive foreign funding and then you transfer this funding to other NGO. It is not gonna work now. You have received the funding, only you can use it. You You cannot give it to any other NGO. Second, your administrative expense, 20% of NGO. मान लेते हैं एक NGO has a budget of 100 rupees. Only 20 rupees it can spend on administration. Basically, government wants to control your outreach. If you have larger administration, you can reach to more people. Something government doesn't want. It want to do work, but in a small capacity. Third thing, anyone who wants to take money, anyone means organization, not individual. Organization who wants to take money from foreign sources, they must have an account in Delhi in any of the one SBI. In Delhi, any of the SBI branch, you must have an account. You cannot have account anywhere else. So basically, say yeah, the government has increased its power too much in FCR, and then we know how it is being used. So, baat ki baat. Clear everyone? This is more than sufficient for prelims. Yes, any SBI branch, only any SBI branch in Delhi only. Full rate. What about electoral bonds? What do you want to ask other? They can invest this money in electoral bonds. So no. Common sense लगाइए. You cannot transfer the money. अभी मैंने बताया you cannot transfer the money. Electoral bond में आप पैसा नहीं लगा. You are saying in case of electoral bond, the person must have account in Delhi. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है. Electoral bonds you can purchase in any SBI branch, or you have to provide your own source. मान लेते हैं you make a payment, you have an account in PNB, who cares? It must be an online transaction. That's it. Or you have to take that from any SBI branch. कहीं से भी लिंक दीजिए. And there are many branches of SBI in there. Delhi is a metropolis. Delhi में one branch will not survive. There are so many branches. Everywhere there are branches of SBI. Yeah, anyway. So these are the provision you need to remember. Next news. Forest cover in India. In this, I have suggested you earlier also, if you are attempting any year prelims, what you have to do is create a list. In this, on one hand, you will write organization or institution, other hand, you will write report. You will, in this, you will write which organization published the report, here, which is the name of the report. You can directly ask, which of the following institution published this report. Okay, do not go in the detail of the report, means what are the components, sub-component. At most component, okay, sub-component जरूरी नहीं है, first thing. Second thing, detail of the report are necessary for mains, not for prelims. Prelims के लिए at most you need to know what is the report and who is the publisher, and well-known indexes. Report या index, जैसे democracy index, your democracy index, your global hunger index. These kind of well-known indexes need to know who publishes them. In that sense, you need to read this. First point, Forest Survey of India. Remember this, that Forest Survey of India, it's a government body. It publishes data on the forest cover in India. So who, if the question comes, who published the report on forest cover in India? The answer is Forest Survey of India. There are numerous survey body in India. A geological survey, archaeological survey, there are numerous kind of bodies. Do not confuse. Only Forest Survey of India published a report on the forest cover in India. What is the status? 71% in 2020. It was earlier 19.53 in 1980s. So one question I want to ask, is forest cover increasing or declining around the world? Common sense. What your common sense is? Increasing, then how come in our report it is increasing? 1980, I believe there must be more forest cover than today. The reason is except इसका रीजन अभी हम समझेंगे. In a bit we will understand why this peculiar figure. एक रीजन मैं बताता हूँ, because of technology. Understand, Yeah, publish forest cover status report, but it depends upon ability to find. Earlier, we did not have proper technology. Now the technology is increasing. By that, we can have a broader, better pixel resolution, and we can have better understanding. You will understand in a bit. Second, the tree cover in India is around 62%. इसमें 1.4 billion people who are going to attend. Absolute figures are wrong. मान लेते हैं PPSC writes a statement कि the mainland India is the, say for example, 1,000 kilometers away from Andaman Nicobar. So you have never known this statement. You will still put this wrong. If PPSC never asked, you do not give absolute data because absolute हो भी नहीं सकता. 1,000 kilometer exact cannot be. It may be 1 kilometer, 0.5 kilometers extra or less. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता कि exact 1,000 is available. Nature is not that precise. Common sense लगाइए. Nature is not that कि 1,000 kilometer ही होगा. It may be 99.95. This kind of figures are there. So if they use the word around, maybe, this kind of a word, the word which basically dilutes the statement, the chances are it is correct. But if they use absolute data, must, is, there are high chances it is wrong. It is for intelligent guess, I'm telling you. Okay, clear everyone? The forest cover in India, the Forest Survey of India report on forest cover status has shown 71%. All you need to remember is around 70. Copy. Exact figure is not important in PSC. Just remember the coverage is now is around 70% more than sufficient, and pre-cover coverage is around 60% more than sufficient. The question is how the Forest Survey of India have developed data. Remember photographs. ये जरूर याद रखिएगा. That is the National Remote Sensing Agency. It provides photograph. But they often write this. They will write NRSA, National Remote Sensing Agency, provides satellite access to Forest Survey of India. You will think, common sense, it may appear sound argument, nahi hai. Keep this in mind. National Remote Sensing provide only photograph to Forest Survey of India based on which it calculate the forest cover. There is no access to satellite, only photographs taken by the satellite. Clear? These points you have to remember. Who published the report? Forest Survey of India. What is the status? Around 70% is the forest cover. Around 60% is the overall green cover. And how they calculate data? Based on photograph given by National Remote Sensing Agency. That's it. Clear? This is prelims. Up to your question, कैसे? Because forest के लिए government मानती है any land which is 1 hectare or more, any patch of land which is 1 hectare or more having at least 10% tree canopies. मतलब if 10% of this land has tree, it is a forest according to government definition. Imagine farmers. Often farmers plant, often farmer plants plant. Often farmers, okay, they plant trees on the edges of their plot because trees provide better soil protection and water protection. So if this is on the edges, so it may be 10%. So government के हिसाब से it is a forest. So very good definition. Second, how tree covers are calculated. उसमें एक चीज देखिए, regardless of land use and ownership. मतलब your farmhouses can also be forest. If you have a farmhouse, your own land, if you have more than 10% for tree canopy, it is also a forest according to government. वही मैं कह रहा हूँ. If you have a house, you have a farmhouse. Usually people have farmhouse, not in urban areas, but outside. Farmhouse, if you have 10% plantation and it is more than 1 hectare, then it is a forest according to government of India. That's why the figure is 70. रियल लाइफ में अगर मैं कहूँ तो हमारा जो एक्चुअल फॉरेस्ट होगा ना, एक्चुअल फॉरेस्ट will not be more than anyway 40 to 50% से ज्यादा नहीं होगा. That is the highest figure I'm telling you. Actual forest, the forest that you and I understand. Anyway, government definition we cannot do much about. Remember this definition, everyone. How it is calculated? ये भी बात. Remember this definition. Any land which is 1 hectare or more having more than 10% tree canopy is a forest cover according to government. Second thing, any land means small, isolated or tiny patches less than 1 hectare, okay, which are the part of tree cover. Means any isolated or tiny patch of tree canopy and all which is not considered as forest is considered tree cover. और आपके घर में अगर तुलसी लगी है तो tree cover. ठीक है? Remember these two definitions. Tree cover, any land which is less than 1 hectare having tree canopy is a tree cover. Any land more than 1 hectare having 10% tree canopy is a forest. Okay, three classification here: very thick, dense, and open. Very thick forest which has 70% or more canopy, dense forest 40% or more canopy, open forest between 10 to 40. Clear? These are the point for prelims. Beyond this, you require nothing in this. Bole guys, clear? Good. Now let's come to the next news. India's energy data. According to IEA, that is the International Energy Agency. Remember this figure. India is now the world third largest producer of power. India is now the world's third largest producer of power, and the coal used in India will peak between 2030 to 30. That's it. So IEA report. What consumer, Rohit? What consumer? So what is mean by consumer? Consumer means the amount of energy India use, means entire India, you, I, everyone. प्रोड्यूसर हम है ही नहीं, प्रोड्यूसर इसलिए नहीं है बिकॉज मेजॉरिटी ऑफ आवर एनर्जी कम्स फ्रॉम व्हाट सोर्सेज, आपका ऑयल एंड गैसेस, एंड actually India produce around 3,300 gigawatts. Out of this 200 gigawatts around we still produce from traditional sources like oil, gas and all. And इसमें we are critically dependent on Middle East. 85% is our dependence on Middle East. Very critical. हम पे है नहीं, natural resources है नहीं. चलिए वो डिबेट के बाद. हालांकि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोडक्शन की अगर हम बात करें, देखिए दिस इज एनर्जी कंजम्पशन, कीप दिस इन माइंड. दिस इज एंटायर पावर कंजम्पशन. एंटायर पावर कंजम्पशन में इंडिया इज द वर्ल्ड थर्ड लार्जेस्ट, नंबर 1 इज यूएसए, चाइना, ठीक है, एंड देन कम इंडिया. Remember this point. Second point, India's coal use will peak by 2030 and 21. Bas, that's it. Just energy transition partnership. These are new organization. So what you have to do for economics and environment chapter, for current affairs perspective, if there is any new organization or there is a new concept in environment, any new organization or economy, new concept, you must know the understanding. What is that? No deep details. Take there. Just energy transition partnership. Actually, it is nothing. Actually, developed countries have come with developing countries. We already understand one thing: who has exploited this environment more? Developed countries during their early industrialization. So hmm, simple सा चीज ये है कि the developed countries have a lot of technology, capital, manpower. They can afford costly solution to power. We cannot, and that is the thing they also understand. And this is one earth, so whether they pollute or we pollute, in both cases we both will be there. So to avoid that, a new mechanism has been evolved. Just energy transition partnership, FP. Under this, developed country will provide funding to developing countries. If they sign this agreement, developed countries will provide funding to developing countries. Developed countries like UK, France, Britain, they will provide funding to developing countries so that they can move from coal, oil-based energy sources to renewable sources. The costly process takes time. That is what we have. JETPs are nascent financing cooperation mechanism in which the developed countries help a section of heavy coal dependent emerging economies like India make just energy transition. This is do not need to know anything. That is sufficient for prelims in JETP. इसमें few things that I have used. Where it has emerged in COP26 in Glasgow, UK, the recent meet. Understand the word COP. COP means Conference of Parties. Conference of Parties to what? To UNFCCC. UNFCCC is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It is the base convention on climate change in the world. All the countries who have signed this agreement They are known as parties, and whenever they meet, it is known as conference of parties. The recent that has taken Glasgow, UK, में that has been taken place. It is the 26th meeting of parties or conference of parties since UNFCCC. So clear what is COP26? Next is it is also known as CMP 16. CMP means it is the conference of parties to Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol actually UNFCCC had some targets for development, but it was not enforceable targets. The developed countries were not under compulsion to achieve those targets, so nobody did. So we thought why we should arrive at a mechanism in which we can force every country to reduce their carbon dioxide emission or greenhouse gas emission. For that, we arrive at Kyoto Protocol. So it is CMP 16. Matlab this meeting is the 16th meeting since Kyoto Protocol. Similarly, it is the third meeting since Paris Agreement. It is known as CMA. Please remember all these things. They are actually one meeting but known by different names. COP26 माने 26th meeting since UNFCCC enactment. CMP 16 माने 16th meeting since Kyoto Protocol. CMA 3 माने third meeting since Paris Agreement. Okay, for example, next meeting takes place in India. So what I will call it? क्या बोलूँगा मैं? It will be called COP27, CMP 17 or CMA 4. So everyone is clear. COP 27, CMP 17 or CMA 4. This is all you have to remember in this this news that we done. So we have understood two things. Para India is the third largest consumer and majority of it comes from traditional sources like coal, oil and gases. For that, we have just energy transition partnership, which India from coal-based energy to renewable sources. And in this, developed country will provide financing to the developing country. It was agreed on COP26 UK. That's it. Next is the concept of Talanoid dialogue. What is this dialogue? Actually, it is to find out. Basically, all parties will come together to take a stock of progress post Paris. This agreement की बात हो रही है. Paris Agreement be signed. Since then, what is the progress of humanity or all countries in achieving their target of reducing greenhouse gases? To find out that, we have Talanoid. इतना ही आपको याद है. What is Talanoid dialogue? It's a dialogue to take a stock of the progress of parties since post Paris. Clear? इसमें मुझे you have to tell me greenhouse gases. Make a list of greenhouse gases, all the 6 gases, and ozone depleting gases. You need to know what are these gases. So which are the greenhouse gases? किसी को idea है? नहीं है तो do make a list. ठीक है, मीथेन CH4 बिल्कुल सही, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड सबको ठीक है, मीथेन एंड सल्फर अकेला नहीं होता था. सल्फर नहीं होता. सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड किसने बताया? सल्फर हेक्साफ्लोराइड SF6 होता है. इसी तरह बस हमारा SC और आपका CFC SC ऐसी बहुत सारी गैसेस हैं. do make हाँ इवन वाटर वेपर भी होता है. रिमेंबर दैट वाटर वेपर्स आर आल्सो ग्रीनहाउस गैसेस. क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन CFCs ओजोन डिप्लीटिंग है. क्या बोलते हैं, ग्रीनहाउस गैसेस नहीं है. SCFC ग्रीनहाउस गैस. जब प्लीज चेक इट आउट एक बार. हाँ इसे ध्यान से चेक करना, तो कंफ्यूजन रहता है, तो डू नॉट ओवरलैप. इसमें कुछ चीजें याद रखिएगा. बट विच आर मेक अ लिस्ट ऑफ ग्रीनहाउस गैस, रॉटलन देम ओजोन डिप्लीटिंग गैसेस, मेक अ लिस्ट ऑफ दैट. एंड आल्सो नो द टाइप ऑफ द फॉग्स. टू फॉग और स्मॉग we call smog, sorry smog. Smoke plus fog, the two oxidizing and reducing. So remember, find out what are the gases in both. ठीक है, बस that's it. This is all for prelims purpose. Means when nobody asks. Smog जो होता है, smog में you have smoke plus fog equals to a smog. There are two kind ना, reducing and oxidizing. known as Los Angeles smog or London smog. What are the component in that? Remember that. It's different. एक में sulfur, एक में nitrogen. So keep that in mind. Make a list out. These things you need to know. That is Talana dialogue, greenhouse gases, ozone depleting gases, type of smogs, and this new just energy transition partnership. Just a small idea. No, you can say temporary successful only for those places where they're installed. Not, but they do. It is like rain. They mimic rain basically. Rain, there's a rain motor. Rain, it comes and it settles down. And the other is centrifugal one. There are two kind of the water वाले हैं और एक centrifugal वाले. सेंट्रीफ्यूगल वाले काफी हद तक काम कर जाते हैं बट स्टिल देखिए पॉल्यूशन का तो सॉल्यूशन है we need open environment. दिल्ली के साथ प्रॉब्लम है कि too much it is too much industrialized. Delhi is too much industrialized. There are so many buildings which does not allow escape easily anyway under to pollution. So that's why we have understood JETP and then Talana dialogue. Similarly, you have under to pollution. What is this? It is the MOU between sub-national government. मान लेते हैं देखिए Paris Agreement is an agreement for climate change between governments, sovereign governments, government of India, government of UK, this kind of thing. It's another agreement at sub-national governments that is known as under to pollution. For example, an agreement between New York government, Delhi government, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, इस तरीके से. The sub-national government, when they sign agreement among themselves, is under to coalition. That you all have to remember. What is under to coalition? It is a MOU by sub-national government around the world to reduce greenhouse gases to achieve net zero by 2050. Who are the signatory? More than 200 states have signed, including India's Telangana and Chhattisgarh. Clear? There is no requirement of details. बताइए यहाँ तक कुछ भी could not understand. वैसे factual, I don't think you will be having a problem. I think नहीं है. अगला चलते हैं. अगली news. Legislator facing disqualification cannot attend float at Supreme Court. So means makes a big debate, but here we will restrict ourselves. So disqualification, in this what you have to do, prepare a list, polity wherever you have done, you will know how many ways of disqualification, what is the process, these things you must know. Polity, these kind of questions are directly asked. Flow test. तो मुझे बता सकता what is flow test? Yes. Flow test basically applies to the idea of flow test basically when the government, because we understand simply, the people chooses their MPs and MLAs and they in turn chooses the government. The logic is that government, in order to remain in power, government of India or the government of the respective state must enjoy majority in the parliament. In India's case, looks exactly the way. So this is what is called flow test. So remember, flow test can be both. If there is a confidence motion where government proves its majority, it is also a flow test. When opposition moves the resolution of no confidence, that is also a flow test. Flow test simply means seeking government, whether government enjoy majority or not, whether it is moved by the government or opposition. Government moves the resolution, it is called confidence motion. Opposition moves the resolution, it is called no confidence motion. So it is in this news in context of Maharashtra. Maharashtra में उसकी ना शिवसेना got splitting. I think previous Saturday we discussed that in detail. उसी के बारे में बात हो रही है. The Chief Justice has only said that allowing this MPs and MLAs, because once symbol and go and annually, so once you leave a party, there is something called as anti-defection law. Anti-defection law, it was brought in because there is it's a slap to the people. मान लेते हैं there are 200, BJP got 200 seats, Congress got 190 seats in election in Lok Sabha. Who will form the government? Common sense, BJP. But what is the thing that happens is मान लेते हैं if there is no such law, if Congress buys the 10 people from BJP, so now it has 200, if they have 190, so Congress will form the government. This was the problem. People, if wanted Congress in power, they would have voted Congress in power. Similarly, we discussed in MCD wala. If people wanted BJP in power, they would have voted BJP in power. They voted Apna, let it run the government. So BJP tried to engineer a coup by doing whatever drama we discussed in previous Saturday. That is very bad. It is demeaning to democracy. Just to you want to make a government anyhow. Very bad. Nonetheless, so to prevent such kind of incidents, we have something called as anti-defection. Now, what you need to remember for prelims, anti-defection law is known as the 10th schedule. Anti-defection law is known as the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution. It was included by 52nd Amendment Act. Year is not important. 52nd Amendment Act. Anti-defection law is the 10th schedule law. It aims to deal with the phenomenon of Ayaram Gayaram. 52nd Amendment was introduced, who is the ultimate officer to decide disqualification, the presiding officer, often the speaker. Nobody is presiding, then speaker. Clear? इसीलिए गेम हुआ आई थिंक डू चेक लोकसभा में देयर इज नो डेप्यूटी स्पीकर राइट नाउ लोकसभा में राइट नाउ आई बिलीव देयर इज नो डेप्यूटी स्पीकर डू चेक लोकसभा में या राज्यसभा में कहां पर मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा तो देखिए डिसएडवांटेज क्या है इफ यू हैव नो डेप्यूटी स्पीकर दैट स्पीकर इज ऑफन फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट डेप्यूटी स्पीकर इज फ्रॉम द अपोजिशन इफ यू हैव नो डेप्यूटी स्पीकर इसका मतलब क्या हुआ they will never be you will never be in the presiding officer seat it means you can never regulate the working of the house again bad incidents of democracy that's why in democracy index we are declining who published democracy index मैं बोल रहा हूँ you have to create a list बताया था मैंने बीट है ये कौन है भाई who publishes democracy index any idea to anyone the economist ना the economist इसका न्यूज़पेपर आप लोग पढ़ते हैं बाकी you can check it out next this is all you have to remember for prelim what is anti-defection and what schedule it is applied who is the ultimate officer in deciding anti-defection I told you in case of economy you need to know concept so what is price signal it was floating nowadays so I included it simply we know economy runs on the basis of demand and supply price signal mane as soon as the price of a commodity change it signals the consumer as well as the producer because the consumers as well as the producer what they have to do for example if this pen prices is going up as a producer what I will get the signal about if this pen price is going up as a producer what will be my signal about this produce more okay so this is called price signal just remember this term price signal means a signal that is exerted by the changing price of a commodity to the producer and the consumer demand is more than supply I have to produce more next the next scheme is free national flagship program इसके लिए I have suggested you something cover every year's budget president speech which he give every year to the parliament and economics whether you are attempting that year or not it doesn't matter you have to attempt these three things every year the budget the president speech and the economics because it इतना पीछे जाने की जरूरत नहीं यू कैन कवर फ्रॉम दिस ईयर इफ यू आर अटेम्प्टिंग दिस ईयर तो एक साल पहले का भी कर लेना बट बेसिक व्हाई आई एम सेइंग सो बिकॉज़ यू नीड टू अंडर बजट में प्रेसिडेंट स्पीच एंड इकोनॉमिक सर्विस दे लिस्ट गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स if you want one authentic source where you can find the which scheme is important in the eyes of government how would you get to from these sources in budget speech the speaker the finance minister mentioned those schemes which government thinks are very very important for the government so otherwise government is millions schemes you will be lost so what you have to do is cover budget present speech economic survey isse you will get the idea which scheme is going on what are the problem what are the bad good things about them and which scheme basically is important so you can cover them in detail remaining scheme ko you just know a basic idea how you will reduce your workload and smart working. Three national scheme have been launched in basically it is launched by Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, Dairy. You can simply say about fishes, ocean, aquaculture. Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Remember this scheme. This is the overarching umbrella. Pradhan Mantri or PM, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. It is the overarching umbrella of scheme under which you have different schemes of aquaculture, that is fishes और जो भी है उन सब के लिए genetic improvement program for Indian white shell under प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना. It is for what? नाम से पता लगा. Improving genetic quality of Indian white shell. National Surveillance Program on Aquatic Animals. You can guess by the name, it is a national program, surveillance program for finding the aquatic animal diseases before they become bigger. Okay? It is also a part of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. All the schemes that are related to aquaculture are basically part of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. It is a mega scheme. This scheme is central sector scheme. Central sector money. Yes. Central sector money scheme in which central government basically put 100%. Centrally sponsored scheme in which the central government put a part and the state government puts a part. The central sector scheme is where it is being created next. Shrimp crop insurance. It is developed by ICAR. ICAR money Indian uh, Indian Council for Agriculture Research. Isha, you have raised a hand or it is accidental? Yes. So Indian Council for Agricultural Research, ICAR. It is the mega body of all the extensions of agriculture, university, agriculture education, your different kind of knowledge services to farmer. All that is done by ICAR. Very, very important body in agriculture of India. This is all. Clear everyone? These are three scheme rot learning fact. Nothing much to tell. Another thing that you need to remember about India's fishery sector. India is the second major producer of fishes in the world and fourth largest exporter of the fish. And third thing that is not mentioned here, the majority, 75% of the fishes are inland fisheries. There are numerous reasons for this which we cannot cover here. वो mains वाली बात हो जाएगी. Maybe I am not aware. Maybe because there is small, nobody will ask. Maybe हो सकता है. Could be. Yeah. Filal, what you need to remember is India is the second major producer of fishes through aquaculture in the world. It is the fourth largest exporter of fishes in the world. And third point, majority of Indian fishes are inland fisheries. They are not from oceans, as you may imagine. If I say fishery, immediately what your mind will strike. Okay, we are going into the ocean bringing fishes around. No, that is a very small component. There are numerous reasons for that, which is main important, not for here. But anyway, clear these 3 points you have to remember for prelims. Next question, merchant discount rate. Okay, this UPSC, I have told you one thing always. They often ask questions which are around from you. Okay, they expect you to be an aware citizen. A lot of questions are from your around. उसके लिए आपको 20-20 घंटे पढ़ने की जरूरत है. Books में घुसने की जरूरत नहीं. If you observe your society, if you observe your surrounding, you can answer more questions even in mains and interview. Your answer will be better than anyone else. How? Have you ever gone to shipping and paid by credit card or debit card? Especially credit card. But I guess have you ever gone to shopping and paid by a credit card? So thank God किसी ने आंसर दिया वरना मैं सोच रहा था everybody is so poor here. So have you seen that merchant from you whom you take something? He says na कि I will, if you want to pay for my credit card, you have to give this percent extra. Happened with you? Yes, that is called NDR. That is called merchant discount. उसी की बात हो रही है. UPSC has in past directly asked this. Which of the following statement represent merchant discount? There were 4 statements, and then it asked the right statement. What is the merchant discount rate? It is nothing when you use the terminal, that is POS terminal, both some payment POS terminal, when that person swipes your credit card. For that, the bank which is providing the terminal, it charges a certain amount of the transaction to the merchant. The merchant takes that money from you. He passes that money to, legally speaking, he cannot, because it is he who has to pay to the bank. But because it is an additional amount, so he charges to you and says, if you want to take it, if you're paying by card, then pay this extra amount or आपकी मर्जी बाहर जाइए. Clear? So that is MDR. That is the only thing you need to remember. What is MDR? It is a fee charged from a merchant by the bank for accepting payment from customer through credit card and debit card in this term. Clear? So this is all about MDR. Again, remember, I told you for your prelims purpose, economy में remember concept. Economy में बहुत economy में conceptual questions का, polity में factual questions का. Next, e-commerce policy 2019. Basically, it has been discussed. इसमें what you need to remember, e-commerce. Who regulate e-commerce in India? DPIIT. The first one. What is DPIIT? Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. It is under which ministry? Ministry, चलो मैं आपको option देता हूँ. Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Homes, Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Statistics. Yeah. Yes. Ministry of Commerce. Remember this. Ministry of Commerce के तहत it comes, and this is DPIIT. This is the nodal body for startups in India as well as e-commerce in India. That you 2 point have to remember. IPR policy भी यही govern करता है. ठीक है, this is the nodal body. Keep that in mind. तो कुछ नहीं है. E-commerce policy has come. E-commerce policy has listed few points. इसमें directly UPSC के नाम पहला. E-commerce will act. E-commerce जो होंगे, they will act just like a marketplace, not like an inventory. इसका मतलब क्या? They can. अच्छा, I think previous year they asked this question. मुझे याद आ रहा है. Previous year prelims में there was a question on this. हाँ, तभी strike करा. Cool, cool. So basically, they cannot control the inventory of the vendors as 100% FDI through automatic rules only allowed to marketplace. याद रखिएगा. Managing inventory is not allowed marketplace law, because understand, if you have used Amazon, Flipkart or something, so whenever you search something, Amazon always put, मान लेते हैं Amazon, you search for a data cable. If Amazon produces a data cable, it will put its data cable on the top search. That's so-called Amazon basics. It's a violation. You are a third-party platform. You're promoting your own product. Numerous things. Ad बताने लग जाता है, खासकर sponsored content. If you search something, the top पे जो search result में whatever comes on the top of the search result is often a sponsored content. The merchant who is paying to Amazon to put it on the top. Whether the product is of good quality, nobody knows. ठीक है, that is wrong practice. That is unfair trade practice. Should not have been there. But nonetheless, have to. So remember this point, all e-commerce must act like a marketplace model. Means they will provide as a platform. They say you have a market where any vendor can come, any merchant can come, any consumer can. They can negotiate. जिसका बिक गया बिक गया. Same marketplace. E-commerce shall be acting like a marketplace. They will provide a free platform. Well, they will charge a part of the transaction, but they will not promote anyone. Come there, enjoy there, and work. Inventory में क्या होता है? Inventory में the vendor, that is the e-commerce platform, it is start holding commodity. मान लेते हैं select two vendors, big vendors who will provide around 25 to 30% of margin to Amazon. But Amazon will do, Amazon will pass you that product. मान लेते हैं MRP of that product is 100 rupees. That vendor is a big vendor. He affords this. So he will provide that product to 70 rupees to Amazon. Amazon will give you that product for 80 rupees and will show 20% discount. You will be like, oh my god, so much of discount. You will buy that product. Because if you go to buy that product in a brick mortar shop in your locality, that person will charge 100 rupees. That's the MRP. He himself at 90 rupees, but because Amazon is a big company, it can have good vendors and good deals. So it can provide you deep discount and is still in profit. To avoid this, is a inventory model where it will purchase commodity, put it in godowns, and then sell to you. It's a violation. So remember, under e-commerce policy, no online platform, they can act only like a market, not like an inventory. So clear the point? Okay. Apart from this, it says any online retailer cannot sell the product from any vendor in which it has equity interest. मतलब, I think, मान लेते हैं I establish a company XYZ. In this company, no, they cannot hold inventory, but they can hold return product. In between transit, they can. इन्वेंट्री नहीं बना सकते. इन्वेंट्री का मतलब समझ रहे, यू कैटलॉग एवरीथिंग. नो, यू कैन नॉट कैटलॉग. हालांकि वो बाईपास कर लेते हैं. देखिए कौन जाता है चेक करने, तो जाता है खिला दो थोड़ा सा. They all violate this norm. That's why it is not known as a soft state, but nonetheless practical. Legally speaking, they cannot make an inventory and market model. बाकी what I was saying, हाँ. So all the online retailers जो है, they cannot sell a product from a vendor in which they have interest. मतलब if there is a company which sells, for example, iPhone, if Amazon is a part owner of this company, owner, so it cannot sell its product. ठीक है, first thing. Second, it cannot enter into exclusive deals. पहला point, it cannot sell from a retailer, it has interest. Second, exclusive deal with any brand, पर फिर भी होती है. Saying that, for example, this phone is launching only on Amazon, ये गलत है. Cannot have exclusive deals. ठीक है. Anyway, clear everyone? Any questions so far? इसलिए पॉलिसीज यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स से पूछ लेता है. पॉलिसीज के लिए इट्स वेरी कंसर्न. पॉलिसीज में यू नीड टू नो फ्यू इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट अबाउट एनी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉलिसी. ई कॉमर्स पॉलिसी वाज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉलिसी. और देखिए, out of various policy, why UPSC asked in previous prelims in e-commerce? Because everyone use e-commerce and try to understand and decode their mind. Most of the question that I have witnessed in my life from the UPSC, most of the question are from the sources or from about the things which are happening around us most of the time. Even in from static subject, मान लेते हैं for example history. History में if some issue comes up somewhere, chances बढ़ जाता है कि वो question में आ जाए. In within polity, there's if something is going in recent debate and discussion, so they expect you to know the recent debate, and that's how you know what is important, what is not. Chat GTP, पता है मुझे chat GTP could not clear because देखिए that's an II, but we are the papas. More than sufficient. 50 question अगर आपको exact पता है, if 50% of the question, if you can exactly know the answer कि ये तो मुझे कोई गलत, nobody can put them wrong. समझ लीजिए you are one of the toppers. 50% ऊपर किसी को नहीं आता. Above this, intelligent guessing works. And if you're doing 75% of the question, putting all your exact question and intelligent guessing, you are through. Do not try to attempt all questions, it's a trap. But do not waste too much time on one question. Okay? So these are few points that you all have to remember. बाकी को common sense है, बात है, saving sensitive data, common sense. ठीक है, बाकी तो ऐसे ही. Okay. So this is all things we need to know about e-commerce policy. Some important point that I could think you should know. Next, Sujit Bhalla Committee is another concept. Remember this term, elephant bond. पहले तो हम बॉन्ड हम समझते हैं. बॉन्ड का मतलब होता है a paper. It's the promise of loan. Bond means a company, a corporation, even individual can issue bond, but not acceptable nonetheless. Any corporation, something that when they issue a promise paper for a loan, it is known as Cont basically. So what is the problem? First features of this bond. Only you need to remember it is a rupee denominated bond. Past में UPSC has already asked about something called as masala bonds. Past में UPSC directly पूछ चुका है what is masala bond. As the name implies, masala bond are also rupee denominated. The difference is masala bonds are issued in outside India. These are elephant bonds. Elephant bond, what are they? They are not available in India yet. First point to ये बन जाता है. Initially, they are not available in India. Second point, they will be a rupee denominated bond. Third point, they will have a long maturity. 25 years not compulsory here. Long maturity. And fourth point, exclusively for infrastructure. Yeah. Why exclusively for infrastructure? Because the problem that we witness is in banking. Up till have you been to a bank, physical bank, not the app? Have you people been to a bank? So when it closed down for general public, 4 5 ऐसी बंद जाती है. It works until 8 or 9 o'clock. It closed down for the general public around 4 or 5. It works up till 8 or 9 o'clock. 8 or 9 o'clock till the evening. Why? Why this remaining hours? Because banks now every day after it is closed down for public, then the office staff start working on their daily matching. How many assets came, how many liabilities were there. It is known as asset liability matching. They do every day. Banks cannot provide long-term finance. That's the problem. All infrastructure projects are long-term projects. Right? All infrastructure projects are long-term projects. So long-term projects require long-term funding. Banks cannot provide. That's why Sujit Bhalla committee has thought of a special kind of bond. It's a rupee denominated long tenure bond. You can deposit money there and then you can fund infrastructure projects. Of course, they can easily get them. Remember, it is not available in India yet. Let's suppose these are the points you need to remember about elephant. Here, I know it's a bit heavy or factual ना सारा. ये इकोनॉमिक सर्वे 2021 की अभी बात कर लेते हैं. 22 23 की बात नेक्स्ट क्लास में वो भी आफ्टर नेक्स्ट क्लास में विल डू. So there was some term that they coined factual है. देखिए till now we were having classes which are means 3 से 4 यूज करते थे that too with good understanding. These are more factual. Bare necessity index. As the name implies itself, bare necessity. The name is bare necessity. So basically, what you need minimum, like housing, water, sanitation, electricity. Economic survey created an index at all India level, urban and rural level. Its purpose क्या? It sees that what is the accessibility of the basic necessities in urban area, in rural area, and all India. That is known as bare necessity. What point you need to remember? Point number one, it is given by economic survey. Point number two, it is only about the basic necessity. Point number three, it is available in three stages or three types of data: all India, urban, and rural. Clear? Next model that they talked about in the economic survey was this Solo Swan growth model. What is this? Simply stating, याद रखिए Solo Swan model का मतलब होता है Solo Swan model highlights output per worker. This model says if a company involves employs some workers, so what is the output? Output per worker mainly depends upon the savings, population growth, and technological progress. These three things पे your Solo Swan model growth model is based. ठीक है. और ये जो है आपके पास लेबर कैपिटल टेक्नोलॉजी दीज आर अबाउट ओल्ड थ्योरी. It says that growth depends on labor capital technology, but the theory that is Solos one model used by economic services, it depends on output per worker, depends on savings, population growth, and technological progress in a society. Oof. So this is all I had. Next time say we will have a 1 hour class because this is prelims heavy class. Okay. and this heaviness will continue till this year prelims. Then we will again switch back to old model of mains integrated analysis. तो बताइए किसी को कुछ क्वेश्चन हो इन द ऑल द थिंग्स वी डिस्कस, ऑल द कॉन्सेप्ट वी डिस्कस, समथिंग यू वांट टू आस्क, और कुछ आपको भी कुछ पूछना हो नेक्स्ट टाइम कवर कर लूंगा, पता है मुझे, उसके लिए वो बना दिया गया ना, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज क्रिएटेड द कलीजी। हाँ पूछ लीजिए, तुम गो अहेड। नो नो, आई विल कवर दैट इन नेक्स्ट क्लास। By that time I will get even better clarity. Swiss challenge model, okay? देखिए स्विच चैलेंज मॉडल में क्या होता है, बेसिकली मान लेते हैं गवर्नमेंट फ्लोट्स अ प्रोजेक्ट XYZ प्रोजेक्ट रोड के लिए, इज अ प्रोजेक्ट कॉल्ड XYZ ऑन रोड। So what happens? Government floats something called as floating tenders. It asks the people to submit their bids. It floats tender and asks them to submit them. मान लेते हैं there are three people, one, two, and three. They gave bid, they gave bid, they gave. So then government or any whichever body is floating tender, they analyze the bids and select. This is normal model. This challenge में what happens is you have a road project. Anyone can submit a proposal. Anyone. So for example, Daman submitted. This proposal will be available online on a open platform. पहले नहीं होता था. All these bid were sealed cover. Nobody knew what was the bid. किसी को नहीं पता होता था. Only the officer who is gonna check, or these bids used to open in front of everyone. All the seal cover are with the officer, and the public meeting happens with all the person who have applied. Then he opens the bid in front of them. Then he decides किसको मिलना चाहिए, whichever is the best bid. This is the normal model. So this challenge what we do is anyone can propose and we put that proposal online, and then anyone can challenge. मान लेते हैं अंजलि challenges. अंजलि से चैलेंज कर देगी ऑनलाइन पे कि आई थिंक दिस पर्सन हैज गिवन इज पोर्ट्रेइंग द कॉस्टली, मैं सस्ता प्रोवाइड करता हूं, ऐसा हर कोई करता है, ठीक है। चलिए, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन टू एनीवन? आफिफा बड़ी जल्दी बाय बाय। तो ठीक है, आई नो इट्स अ हैवी क्लास, प्रीलिम्स इस क्लास है। चलिए, so with that note, have a nice day everyone. We'll meet again next Saturday and we will try to have 1 hour class. Prelims class a bit heavy. Nice, nice weekend. Bye bye.